Okay. So here's another example of what I do with a green horse in the first few minutes that when I'm getting ready to handle him. I've never handled this horse at all, so you're going to get to see it firsthand. This horse appears to be pretty gentle, and by the way, green is a term that can apply to a horse of any age. It doesn't have to be a young horse. It just means that the horse that hadn't been around much, and you know, and I think it applies to most horses that most people are dealing with today. I'm gonna just start and see. I raised up and that horse didn't respond to me. That's the opposite side of a horse that is too responsive. This horse didn't respond, so I'm gonna step up again and get him to move his feet away. To me, that is a very important step right there that I need to have on my horses, is for them to yield to me just as easy as a horse that's wanting to be on the opposite end of moving too much. We've got one here that didn't move, in my opinion, as freely as he needed to. He's pushing on me here a little bit. So there was yield right there. Now send him forward. You see, as I move him here, I want him to go forward, and he's resisting going forward. He still hasn't went forward. He's went sideways, but he hasn't gone forward. So that's the reason I'm keeping this energy up towards that stirrup. I'm still looking. There's forward. We got one step forward right there. Okay. And when he went into that step forward, I immediately let him feel a release. If you notice that when I put a little pressure on him, he started snorting. He started acting like he's a little bit bothered. He didn't know me, and and I don't know him, but I'm just reading his responses to me. I want him to move that shoulder away from me and go forward here. Step forward. Step forward. There's a forward step. It took all the way around the barn to get a forward step, but then I got it. There we go. Now we've got good forward motion. Until I get good forward motion, it's hard to direct energy. So they'll hide out behind in a spot sometimes of not moving. He should be going off to his left, to my right. See him wanting to get his hip behind his shoulders. Changed eyes. Get up. I'm looking for forward motion. He has stopped, which is the other side of doing too much, is hitting that freeze spot. So he hit that on me. I need to get him. There's a forward motion. So he was stuck in his mind, which had his body stuck. Moving pretty nicely this way. You see, on the other side of not doing enough, he's doing more than I'm asking him to do. Forward. Now I'm letting that horse feel complete release in his forward motion. Now he's pulling on the outside. So as he's pulling, I'm going to pull enough to get him off my hand. Pull enough to get him off my hand so he can find that release. See that? I'm not going to let him go out there and hang on the end of that halter and just drag me around. If I let him drag me around, he'll get heavier and heavier, and They're all bigger than a human, but especially one this big. All you got to do is walk off. Let him stand there and think a minute. Now this horse is thinking right now, and that's all I'm trying to do with any horse, but especially these green horses, to get them into a thinking frame of mind. As this horse is thinking, I can start to arrange those thoughts and get those thoughts down to his feet, and then I can direct that motion. If I don't have movement, I don't have anything to direct. Now, it's not all about movement for me, it's about his response to me. If he responds favorably, I'm going to do nothing. Let this horse know that he's okay. I don't want him afraid of me, but he's got to be respectful enough that when I raise up, he says, yes, sir. Which direction do you want me to go? How far do you want me to go? How fast do you want me to go? Not going to let him pull on my hands. I'll get stopped here. I like that. What I like was when I stepped from behind the shoulder to in front, he stopped and look at those ears. When a horse is doing that, they're thinking. His eyes soft, his head's pretty good position. He's in a good frame of mind right there. I'm going to send him off the other direction. These are respectful moves now. He's doing exactly what I want him to do with very little effort on my part. As opposed to when I first started with him, he wouldn't move his feet. Then he didn't understand and he got stuck. If I leave him in a stuck frame of mind, then I've left him in a spot where he doesn't know where to go with his anxiety. He was trying to deal with something he didn't understand by sticking his feet. This is just an example of the opposite end of a horse that's trying to flee you. And this is how I deal with them. So you saw how I dealt with one that was a little bit flighty, and you saw how I dealt with one that was a little bit numb and a little bit was not as responsive as I'd liked for him to be, so I did enough to get him responsive. When he's in that thinking frame of mind, then I just let that horse stand there. You can't stay too long in a spot like this, and by that spot I mean after I have done enough to get the responses I want. You could sit there all day and do nothing and probably do more than you could by riding him all day. But if we let one hang out and hover in the lack of responsiveness, then we've got a horse that's going to get trained to be non-responsive, and those horses stay heavy and you know they act gentle, and they are, until they get their feet moving and they're not used to that, and then that gentleness sometimes goes out the window to self-preservation mode, and that's not a good place to be. So the reason that I do groundwork at all is to prepare them mentally, get them thinking, so that they can be safer for whoever's going to get on their back. And I feel like that the groundwork is essential on these green horses to make sure that the rider's safety stays intact. So anyway, if you like the content that we're putting out, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.